Welcome to the Church Resource, where we talk about the best resources for pastors, leaders, and lay people. I'm your host, Jeff Oliver, and today we look at a book called Church History. This is Volume 1, From Christ to Pre-Reformation, The Rise and Growth of the Church in its Cultural, Intellectual, and Political Context. This is by Everett, Ferguson, and it looks very much like a textbook. That's because it is. And it was one of my textbooks in seminary. It has been a really helpful reference for me to continue to go back to, because as the title says, it covers the historical, the cultural context of what we're looking at here in church history. This is, as I look at them and as I've seen other church history texts and studied from those, I think that this has in it everything that a church history text should have. Now, it's not to talk it up too much. I'm sure there's room for improvement, but I think that this book that carries us from Christ to the beginning of the Reformation and the waters that were boiling there and simmering as we start to get into this period of the Reformation, how that began. But everything is here from century to century. The author covers what needs to be covered in church history. I think he goes through all of the major creeds and the Vatican councils. He covers the popes and how they came to succession, and how there were, at one point there were, I think, as many as 4 popes, depending on who you asked, and there were competing views on that. So all that's covered there. I think it's covered. It is a little bit dry, as you might expect a textbook to be, but all the facts are there, and I think it's still well written. I think that it's something that is, again, going to be a reference for you as you take a look at understanding certain periods of history and why the church is as it is now. Certainly why in this volume, why the Reformation was necessary, and as we get up to that period in history, as to what kinds of things were going on then culturally, historically, that would have led to the Reformation and made that so important. So I want to heartily recommend this to you, that you get this, even if you had some other text, you did go to seminary, you had some other book that would cover church history. I think this covers it in a unique way and in a very thorough way, but still in an accessible way that you can take a look at this. So again, as I said, the ecumenical councils are there. Everything that you would need to understand each period of church history, century by century. And so this has, again, been a reference for me to go back and just remember some of those points, key points of church history, and why things are the way they are, especially today in the Catholic Church, what their background has been, and then how we led up to the Reformation. The second volume of this, of course, covers Reformation to the present day, and that's, I would think, being amended all the time. So we have events in church history going on even currently. So this is a book that I heartily recommend to you. It's Church History, Volume 1, From Christ to Pre-Reformation, The Rise and Growth of the Church in its Cultural, Intellectual, and Political Context by Everett, Ferguson. Pick this up if you don't have it already, and I think it'll be very helpful to you and effective in your ministry, is just to get a bearing on the context of what's going on there in church history. So I hope this is helpful to you. It's a book that's on my shelf that I refer to be able to just understand what the contexts were in church history. So I hope you'll pick this up. If you would have any suggestions for us and would like to review another book in the future, just please feel free to contact us at thechurchresource@gmail.com. That's thechurchresource@gmail.com.